And while Marietta is being recognized for what makes it a great place to live, leaders just across the river are working to protect quality of life in a different way by fighting the opioid crisis. Parkersburg Mayor Tom Joyce is securing another term leading statewide opioid abatement efforts. He was re-elected unopposed to the West Virginia First Foundation Board of Directors representing Region 3. The private foundation was created by state legislators to combat the ongoing opioid crisis. It centralizes the lion's share of settlement funds awarded to the state from opioid lawsuits. The source of these billions come directly from cities and counties suing drug manufacturers. Funds can be applied to youth prevention, law enforcement, and addiction treatment efforts.
For me, and when I went to the first electorate meeting, I've always been a big believer in the prevention component. You know, the next generation that looks at illicit drug use as not an option.
Joyce says he is advocating heavily for greater funding to target the next generation. He says success in rehabilitation cannot just be measured by workload volume, but rather more accurate measurements of actual long-term success. Joyce also wants to simplify the grant process to help underfunded grassroots groups apply with less complication. He looks forward to continuing to use his board position to advocate for lasting, measurable change.